Well, let's move on to the immigration news this week. It was reported first in the Washington Post that Senators Kyrsten Sinema and Tom Tillis, so that's a Democrat and Republican respectively, have been kicking around a framework for a bipartisan immigration deal, which comes at a pretty crucial time for the Biden administration because Title 42 is set to expire, which is a big deal on both the left and the right. Title 42 is that Trump-era policy that allowed the United States at the border to turn away people seeking asylum without a chance to enter the United States because of the pandemic and because of the health concerns related to the pandemic. Now, the loose framework that is being circulated by Senators Sinema and Tillis would include a pathway to citizenship for the Dreamers. That's 2 million of them. And then there's roughly, this is per Axios, $25 to $40 billion in increased funding for Border Patrol. That is a huge range. I'm not even sure that's helpful, the $25 to $40 billion, which would include a commitment to hiring more agents and increasing their pay. It would extend Title 42 until there's a formal plan in place to stop an expected surge of migrants at the border. Again, that's per Axios. And then the last bullet point in the Axios report, if you're watching, you can see it, is just, this is my favorite, an overhaul of the asylum system to prevent abuse of the law. The asylum system, to just say it's an overhaul of the asylum system to prevent abuse of the law, all of this, of all of those different bullet points, you can have a highly funded Border Patrol, you can have Title 42, you can give the Dreamers a pathway to citizenship. If you don't overhaul the asylum system, this will mean absolutely nothing. And that's what's, I think, been really misunderstood about Title 42, which sounds cruel, denying anybody entrance into the United States when they're claiming asylum, which means they're seeking refugee status. A lot of people have still been able to get asylum through different bureaucratic channels over the course of the pandemic. That has actually not stopped it. But what Title 42, as it has been sort of floated, it's gonna go. It's been working its way through the court systems. What that does is bring more migrants onto the sort of pathway up through South and Central America into Mexico because cartels are telling them. There's an open disinformation campaign, a coordinated disinformation campaign by cartels who use the Title 42 basically as bait, as the potential end of Title 42 as bait. And they use these other bureaucratic channels that the United States government negotiates in different parts of Mexico. It's completely uneven depending on where you are at the border. You could be in Tijuana, you could be in Matamoros or Reynosa, and who's getting through and why is totally different, and sometimes there's absolutely no rhyme or reason for it. People get different papers. I've looked at some of the papers in these border facilities. Haitian migrants will get totally different papers from each other with different court dates, et cetera, et cetera. So we've seen a huge surge in immigration this year. We've seen a huge surge in illegal immigration. There's a stunning number of known gotaways. The Biden administration's policy is failing. They're nervous about the end of Title 42 because they know that it's going to cause an influx. There's already an influx because people are getting through these different bureaucratic channels. Sometimes it takes staying and sleeping in the streets in the border town for a little bit to be able to hire a lawyer. And as long as you can hire a lawyer, that's the sort of sentiment among migrants because it's correct, you can find a way. You can find one program or another to get into the United States. So I think an overhaul of the asylum system sounds great. The fact that this plan is being kicked around with no serious ideas of what that overhaul would look like and is just kind of more money, it seems unserious to me, and it seems unlikely to pass anyway.
The overhaul, tell me if this is what you've been gathering, the overhaul to me seems to be more facilities, more administrators, basically more staff in order to move people through faster, coupled with they say more effective mechanisms for removal of people who fail at the process. Because right now, you don't really go through the process until years.
Yeah.
And if you fail at the process, you can pretty much stay.
You can stay.
I mean, unless something goes badly wrong for you.
You can stay especially if you're in a sanctuary city, you can stay as long as you're not like on the wrong side of law enforcement. You're fine.
And even if you're on the wrong side of law enforcement, as long as you're not too far on the wrong side of law enforcement, you're probably not going to get looped up in it. From progressives seem ambivalent about this entire thing because of the Title IV elements, but not totally opposed to it either. From Now, the fact that Stephen Miller, for instance, is like losing his mind over it, I think probably ended up increasing progressive support for it. Like, okay, well, if Stephen Miller thinks it's this bad, then maybe there's something in here, worth salvaging. And all of the money one of the problems is that all the money spent that would be spent to like staff up, it's not clear they can actually staff up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Trump added wanted to add 5,000 Border Patrol agents, right? He's added like 150 or something. Like the number of people who can pass a drug test and who are otherwise qualified to serve as a Border Patrol in the areas where they need Border Patrol agents.
Well, a Border Patrol agent
want that job.
Just died yesterday in pursuit of people crossing the border. His ATV hit an object, I believe it was a fence, as he was in pursuit of people who were running across the border. The Border Patrol job has gotten increasingly dangerous because, again, coyotes they have industrialized these pathways, like through the Darien Gap, into Central America, then up into Mexico, and they have bought off law enforcement, the federales, all throughout Mexico, and that means they basically own certain checkpoints. It means that this is an industrialized trafficking system, and migrants who are desperate for a better life are coached on what to say to get asylum in the United States. And again, like, it is heartbreaking to talk to folks who are in this situation, and they are being preyed on by cartels. If you talk to them, they have dealt with attempted rapes, actual sexual assaults. They have dealt with violence, kidnappings. They have just been kidnapped and put in safe houses and then forced to sort of call family to get money to be released and being used as human ransom by cartels. But the only way to cross now is by coyotes. There's some people who try to do it without, and if you try to do it without,
more dangerous to get caught by a coyote than a Border Patrol.
One migrant that I talked to over the summer, he got across after, and this is, I'll talk about him in a second. He got across and called another reporter I was with in the middle of the night. He was in the United States and was terrified that the cartels were onto him. This was like happening at 3 or 4 in the morning.
Hey guys, ready or not, 2024 is fully upon us now, and Sagar and I have been brainstorming ways that we can really up our game for this critical election.
Yeah, we rely on our premium subs to expand our coverage, to add staff, to upgrade the studio. We just want to give you the best independent coverage of this election, which is possible. So if you can help us out, become a premium subscriber today, breakingpoints.com, or the link is down here in the description video. It really means the world to us. And if you like what we're all about, this is the best possible way to keep us 100% independent, working only for you.